Ladies and gentlemen, the star of the show. It's now exactly 6:30. The bell signifies that, and it's time to begin. Music lovers and friends, the background to my presence here is very simple. And that's because Eric Barb asked me, and I said yes. Eric Barb asked me as always, and I said yes, as always. For the past 30 years. My task, he said, was to present Eshan Fernandes as a prelude to his concert of world music on the occasion of World Music Day. Today is our chance not only to move beyond frontiers, beyond barriers, something that Eshan does with infinite ease. And Eric is a strong aspect of the environment from which Eshan emerged. He spearheaded a movement for Konkani culture. His mission to preserve, promote, and enrich Konkani language and culture is well known. He's one who gave a new definition to Konkani Manyata. One who established the Jagatik Konkani Sangathan to bring the entire Konkani diaspora worldwide together. One responsible for our entry into the Guinness Book of World Records. The self-taught musician. It's very interesting to know that all the three, Generation 1, Generation 2, Generation 3, are all self-taught. And that's fantastic. The self-taught musician who revolutionized the music scene in this part of the country. Gurkhar of Mandd Sobhann, visionary of Kalangann, the indefatigable crusader, grandfather of Eshan, Eric Osario. I said yes also because I had known Alwyn Fernandes, Alwyn and Rashmi, both musicians in their own right. Alwyn, a big name in international music scene. He started with Father Walter Albuquerque, that musical genius that we have largely ignored. And today he is associated with such big names as George Machado, Sandeep Chauta, and L. Subramanian. One of the top 10 guitarists of India, as defined by the Rolling Stone magazine. A self-taught musician again. He is also Eshan's father. Eshan will introduce him later, but I wanted to say tentatively that this is the environment from which Eshan has grown. I said yes to Eric because the program was being organized by Mandd Sobhann at Kalangann. For more than 4 decades, Mandd Sobhann has been at the forefront of Konkani music, culture, thinking globally, dreaming globally, thinking locally, dreaming globally, reaching out to the world with contributions by people I have known and loved. Eric, Chafra, Louis, Stanley, Roy, Titus, Victor, and many more. An organization which released the floodgates of Konkani identity consciousness, but not losing sign of the global vision, which has enhanced the lifespan of Konkani language and provided the heritage in the midst of which Eshan grew up and learned to see the world with new eyes. I said yes to Eric because today is World Music Day, 21st of June. A day that prompts us to see beyond the insular concerns of our own culture. And that word insular I heard recently from Eshan. And in this direction, every year on the occasion of International Music Day, the World Music Day, Mandd Sobhann has organized programs in other languages so that we may learn from them. It brought Ninasam Theatre to Kalangann. And on the occasion of World Music Day, it has reached out to collaborate with the University of Vienna in Austria. Under the leadership of Professor Maria Lehner, head of the music department at the University of Vienna, 4 Austrian troupes have performed here. Triosphere, 3X, Palindrome, and Amitri. Today's program is in continuation of this tradition, and Eshan Fernandes' concert today continues this tradition as well. I said yes also because of this fantastic audience that always turns up for Mandd Sobhann programs, like you, ladies and gentlemen. A beautiful audience, always rock solid behind the Konkani effort and thinking locally, dreaming globally, like Mandd Sobhann. Those who recognize, every one of you have recognized that music has no barriers, and it is necessary that we transcend those barriers. And I said yes for one more reason, perhaps most important of them all. I said yes because of Eshan Fernandes. I had seen him as a young boy. And what inspired me, what impressed me at that time, he was rattling out the names of countries and capitals just like that. He knew the capitals, the countries and the capitals of all the countries of the world at a very young age. And we knew then that this boy would go big time someday. And that is what has happened today. It was only a matter of time before he took these names of capitals and cities to his study of languages worldwide, which is manifest and unconquerable this evening, ladies and gentlemen, in this concert that he has specially brought up for us. Educated locally at Presidency School, Mangalore, and then at St. Joseph's Boys High School, Bangalore, and then in the UAE, in the Global English School at Al Ain and the Al Ain Junior School, and now pursuing his materials engineering degree in the University of British Columbia at Vancouver. He's passionate about music. He's passionate about history. He's passionate about linguistics. And he's writing a novel, ladies and gentlemen, writing a novel about the exploration of the journeys of humanity. What else can you ask from a Mangalorean boy, ladies and gentlemen? Do not our hearts go out to him? And our hearts will go out to him also because he has gone global, but he has not forgotten the local. He has not forgotten his Konkani. When somebody asked him a question in English, I heard him reply in Konkani. Isn't that fantastic? That he has not lost his roots, and he has taken his roots to further heights in terms of his research into Konkani, in terms of his research into the art, the history, the culture, the traditions of Konkani. This is what Eshan Fernandes is today. Ladies and gentlemen, can you believe? Can you believe that this phenomenon, ladies and gentlemen, has become possible? A boy from Mangalore, close to our hearts, has grown so big and today is presenting a World Music Day concert with 12 songs in 12 languages. Can you believe that? Ladies and gentlemen, our hearts go out to Eshan Fernandes. May I request the President of Mandd Sobhann, Louis J. Pinto, to present a bouquet to Eshan Fernandes as a measure of our love, our devotion, our dedication, our happiness, our joy, our charm of Eshan Fernandes. What a wonderful moment, ladies and gentlemen. What a beautiful recognition of this talent who is indubitably ours. Thank you, Louis. Thank you, Eshan, for accepting the bouquet from all of us at the hands of Louis J. Pinto. At the end of this longest day of the year, on this 21st of June 2022, as the evening descends and the stars rise up in the night sky, the stage at Kalangann comes alive with the magic of a truly spectacular world-class concert, as piano and percussion and paint unfold the canvas of the world with the magical genius of our very own boy, now holding his head high among the stars, ladies and gentlemen, Eshan Fernandes.
Ambanda don kumala, ambara don kumadola, ankanda po kumadola. Nikera chenidoye, tunibeka kuda agaye, na Yesu mitenetoye, fale kododo, na Yesu mitenetoye, fale kododo. Muso de cosa tarani muso de mitso nieda la cama olo be kulela bakaloba koma baba konoba e baba koma baba konoba e baba koma baba konoba e baba koma baba konoba e baba. While we sort this out, this previous song, which was the first one of this evening, was in a language called Bambara. If you haven't heard of it before, it's understandable. It's spoken in this West African nation called Mali, quite famous for its history, if you've ever heard of the term Timbuktu. It's a nation built around these trading centers in the middle of the Sahara Desert. The song Bakanoba is about words, the words that we say, the words that we sometimes shouldn't say. It's written by this lady called Fatoumata Diawara. She's a Malian artist based in France. The next song that we're going to play is in the Arabic language. Oh. Well, I was speaking. Wilson's just finished. Wilson Souza, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll have to talk while tuning my guitar. This next song will be in Arabic. Now, Arabic is a language that is spoken throughout the Middle East and North Africa as well. Surprisingly enough, it's not native to most of the countries it's spoken in. It originated in the center of Arabia, around the mountainous regions of the Hijaz and the Najd, between the dunes. But now you hear it spoken all the way from Iraq to Morocco in the west, displacing languages like Aramaic, Berber, Persian, Coptic in the process. Rich linguistic and cultural tradition that this language has, beginning with its obviously religious literature with the rise of Islam, but afterwards transcending that into poetry and art forms and science, half the science that we could think of today arriving from the medieval era originates from the Middle East. And this song was written by a band called Mashru' Layla from Lebanon. And it's called Kalam. It's about words and how they set boundaries, how they set definitions and separations and barriers between people, between things, between places. An interesting thing about the Arabic language is the word for you as an individual has two forms, enta and inti. Enta is used when spoken to a male and inti when speaking to a female. This song goes in between both. Jumps a little bit here and there. You'll hear it. Kalam.
إذا لمساتك بحلى وترى سكر بعلي شوي في جحيم تحت شغلي وانت ايدك بردين والجحنانين ملتحين بوراء الدين ومقمحين وحواجبهم مرفوعين كاتب حدود البلد عجسدي وجسدك وجلت بكشد الكلام كلمتي عكلمتك كجسدي وجسدك وجلت بحرك الكلام حاسس ايه حاسلي انت حاسس ايه وين العين وابدو الويسكي ونعوض عشفافك ما بتتعطل لغة الكلام وحروف بتلفنا لما وشوش كل اسرار الدنيا وانت بترجع ليه وناتك وانا للفراغ كاتب حدود البلد عجسدي وعجسدك وجلت بكشد الكلام كلمتي وكلمتك كجسدي عجسدك وجلت بحرك الكلام حاسس ايه حاسلي انت حاسس ايه وين العين مدت لغة الكلام حاسس ايه حاسس لي انت حاسس ايه وين العين حس لي انت حس ايه حاسس
Thank you. That was Kalangann. So that was the very first of what I consider to be 6 sections of our program. The first section that we just dealt with was the songs of words, songs that deal with the nature of words themselves, what they can do and how we use them between each other and amongst ourselves. The next song brings in the section of memory, of cycles and of life. Songs about cycles is what I like to call them. This next song is in the Swedish language, it's spoken in Sweden. It's one of the North Germanic languages, quite closely related to English. If you try reading the words, it's actually surprisingly similar. Sweden's a place which has created a lot of great music in the past 50 years especially. I mean, in places and acts that we probably never would have heard of, like Catatonia and Opeth, but also stuff that everyone knows, like ABBA. ABBA is from Sweden, you know, Mamma Mia, and Roxette, Listen to Your Heart, and lots of great music has come out of Sweden. And one half of Roxette actually wrote the song, a woman named Marie Fredriksson. It's called Den ständiga resan, which means the unending journey. It's about the cycles we go through in life. It's about running through for a hope till the next
När jag tänker på den ständiga resan genom livet, när det alltid känns som höst, då vänder sig vinden sakta mot norr och blommorna dör. Det faller regn i mina drömmar. Jag måste resa igen och lita efter tröst. Jag måste lita igen efter utan tröst. Jag måste lita igen till nästa höst. Den ständiga resan till nästa höst. När jag vandrar på den steniga vägen genom livet, när det känns som jag bad på en sorg, då gömmer befinner sig solen sakta imot. Ordet är adjö, snart faller snö i mina drömmar. Jag måste visa igen och lita efter tröst. Jag måste leta igen efter ömhet and trust. Jag måste leta igen till nästa höst. Den ständiga resan till nästa höst. Den ständiga resan till nästa höst.
And transitioning into the next song, which is thematically similar. It's about memory and cycles. This next one is by a band called Novembre, and it's in Italian. I think most people are familiar with Italian, but it's a Romance language. Actually, interesting fact, Italian was never actually one language. There was never something called Italian, because that's something that was devised after the Renaissance, when people started making literature and writing books for the first time that weren't just the Bible and Latin. And based on the dialect in this region of Tuscany, they came up with a standardized form of this language, which they started calling Italiano. And this song has some English in it, so perhaps you'll understand some of the lyrics, but mostly it has to do with the cycles of resurgence and memory. And it's called Jewels.
Penso al passato tornerai solo un giorno per portar via questa notte anomala. Quando domani tornerai vastità latente. Penso al passato tornerà solo un giorno, lacrime azzurre scioglie. Quando domani tornerà, sostanza e verità. You were alone that day behind the screaming crowd. Oh, that day when the rain started falling down into the thirst of slaughterers, the slaughterers. Na, 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 tomorrow the thunderstorms will come from east as usual, and we'll enjoy them with a smile. You were alone that day behind the screaming crowd. Oh, that day, that day, that day.
As you can probably see, it's quite difficult transposing a metal song to an acoustic setup, but it worked. This this next song begins the next section, and well, it's actually a section of 4 songs. This one, it's songs of love, longing, loss, and emotions of that sort. This first one of that section is going to be in this language from the island nation of Cape Verde, or Cabo Verde as they call it. was a completely uninhabited archipelago off the coast of Africa until the Portuguese colonized it in the late 1500s. And what came to rise there is something that hasn't really been replicated in a lot of different parts of the world, where the two cultures that lived there, in the beginning, you know, it was a combination of slave and owner between the Portuguese and the indentured West Africans. But over time, due to the isolation of the islands, these people came together, their cultures came together, their languages came together, their people came together to create this one Creole, a complete mixture of people, rather than two existing side by side in separation. I mean, if we look at Mangalore in a lot of ways, we have so many cultures here. It's an incredibly diverse place, but there's not a lot of interaction between them if you think about it on a cultural level. And I think one thing that Cape Verde really did was pull everything together, and they created something quite beautiful. And this song is in their language, the Kriolu, what they call it. It's called Olhos Fechados, which means with eyes shut, and it's about not wanting to accept the loss, I suppose.
Giove passeu, quelques mots já faz estrelas da fama para tocar bem mais grande. Pedi anjos de Deus, tava em busca momento que crele passe vida sem bom amor.
Giove caminho cuspara força de saudade e dor, qual me livre na tempo, vive com olhos fechados para ter junto comigo. Giove passeu, quelques mots já faz estrelas da flama para tocar bem escrito. Pedi anjos de Deus para vir em busca momento que crele passe vida sem amor. Okay, that was a song by Mayra Andrade. She's a singer from Cape Verde. She sings in Portuguese and Kriolu. As you can see, a bit of a confusing chord structure in the middle. We got a little lost, but the next song is a lot more familiar to us and to you as well. It's in Konkani, our language. Now, Konkani, I'm sure, as most of us speak it, we would be familiar with it. It's an Indo-Aryan language of Prakrit extraction, rising from the same roots as Punjabi, Bengali, Hindi and Urdu that we know of, and of course Sanskrit in the past. But although it's a language of a non-nomadic people, it's spoken by its speakers have tended to migrate frequently and not always for reasons of their own choosing. The language is thought to have split from the earliest Apabramsa Prakrits around the banks of the Saraswati River in modern-day Rajasthan, India. But when seismic activity sent the river underground, the people had to move, and so they moved, and some of them settled in Gaud, some of them in Goa, and waves of invasions after invasions came, and then came the Portuguese, the same people that started Cape Verde. And colonization and its horrors and its effects, including inquisitions and unenforced exoduses, sent people fleeing southwards, elsewhere. And so we have Konkani speakers up in Karwar, up down in Kerala, and not to say that the migrations ended then. There were multiple waves of exoduses, and then in 1799 there was the captivity of the Mangalorean Catholic Christians who spoke Konkani, but under the rule of Tipu Sultan, who had taken over the Mysore kingdom. And upon their release, people once again scattered. There's pockets of Konkani speakers all the way south in Wayanad in Kerala today. Now this song was a poem written by Chafra, Charles Francis de Costa, and composed by Eric Azerio, my grandfather. It's called Birna.
Jagalavane Birna Fordong Udalong Tu Jagalanche Tamsan Kashe Hatak Maja Laglina Birndang tuja Boleavele Fordum Kamoga Uddatana Birndang tuja Boleavele Fordum Kamoga Uddatana Tamsan Tanchi Sa utranțădănăm. Tuja galavoi Pirna fordon Utalo Tuja galanchi Tamsan kashir Hatak muja Laglina, oh, Laglina. Dev bore karo. Quite a beautiful song, and it's quite a very regional poetic aspect to it, because how would you explain the concept of Birindan to someone who has never seen the plant? The next song is going to be in Spanish, one of the most widely spoken languages in the world. It's spoken throughout North America, South America, Europe, taught in schools. But it isn't even the universal language of Spain. It's actually one of many languages spoken in Spain. It's called Castellano in Spain, Castilian. It exists alongside Catalan, Galician, language isolates like Basque. But what Spanish has is an innate kind of sense of multicultural ingrainment within itself, from the rule under the Arabs and the Moors of Spain until the Reconquista was completed in the 1400s, to its various influences that it's explored throughout its colonization of Latin America and the likes. This next song is by a Colombian singer called Marta Gomez, and it was arranged and composed by Idan Reichel from Israel. It's a song about reminiscence and longing. The lyrics express a sense of imagination and thirst being turned into sky within one's soul. It's called Todas las Palabras, all the words. Supongo que tú y yo nos encontraremos y tal vez ni nos demos cuenta, tal vez suceda sin prisa y sin viento en algún lugar de allí. Siento que tú y yo nos encontraremos y tal vez nos parezca extraño con la ilusión, sin prisa y sin voz, sin pasos que recorrer. Supongo que tú y yo nos encontraremos y tal vez ni nos demos cuenta, tal vez suceda sin prisa y sin viento en algún lugar de allí. Siento que tú y yo nos encontraremos y tal vez nos parezca extraño con la ilusión, sin prisa y sin voz, sin pasos que recorrer. Todas las canciones, todas las palabras vienen y bailan con el sonido que hace el viento cuando se acerca a tu boca y tu piel. Mírame un instante, toca este silencio que ya se apaga y abraza el aire que se vuelve cielo dentro de tu aliento y mi ser. Es el aire que se vuelve cielo dentro de mi ser. Supongo que tú y yo nos encontraremos y tal vez ni nos demos cuenta, tal vez suceda deprisa y con viento en algún nuevo lugar. Siento que tú y yo nos encontraremos y tal vez nos parezca extraño con la ilusión, sin prisa y sin voz, con sueños por empezar. Todas las palabras vienen y bailan con el sonido que hace el viento cuando se acerca a tu boca y tu piel. Mírame un instante, toca este silencio que ya se apaga y abraza el aire que se vuelve cielo dentro de tu aliento y mi ser. Es el aire que se vuelve cielo dentro de mi ser.
I personally really like the lyrics of that last one. It's quite poetic if you speak Spanish, but if you don't, the lines of the verse say, I suppose that you and I will eventually meet. We might not even notice. It might happen quickly, without a breeze in some new place. I feel that you and I will meet, and it might be strange, with the same hope, but without the rush, without a voice, and with dreams to begin. The next song is in another really widely spoken language, and one that's also more familiar to you. Hindi, Urdu, Hindustani, Khadi Boli, whatever you want to call it. Another one of the Indo-Aryan languages, quite closely related to Konkani, even though it might not seem so on the surface. Hindi and Urdu, it's a strange dichotomy that we've, I want to say manufactured, really. Both languages originate from the same set of dialects that broke away from the earlier Apabramsas. But one of them retained this cultural heritage that was from the hundreds of years of contact culturally or governmentally or even poetically from Central Asia and the Middle East in terms of Farsi and Urdu and Turkic and Arabic, while the other side tried to forge a new, uniquely Indian identity. But at the end of the day, they're both sides of the same coin, they're both the same language, and that's why I wanted to call this one Hindustani instead. And the song was written by Vishal Shekhar and sung by Mandd Sobhann. It's a song about, again, remembrance and longing, just like Todas las Palabras, and it's called Tujhe Bula Diya. Oh, and it starts in Punjabi. बारिशां ते सुखे सुखे सपने वे भिज गए नैना लगियां बारिशां रोवे पलकां दे कोने विच नींद मेरी नैना लगियां बारिशां जुड़कदे दे चोट लगे दिल ते नैना लगियां बारिशां रुत बिरहा दी बदलां दी छा गई खाली 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 रातों से होने लगी है दोस्ती खोया खोया इन राहों में अब मेरा कुछ भी नहीं हर पल हर लम्हा मैं कैसे सहता हूँ हर पल हर लम्हा मैं खुद से ये कहता रहता हूँ तुझे भुला दिया हो तुझे भुला दिया हो तुझे भुला दिया हो फिर क्यों तेरी यादों ने मुझे रुला दिया हो मुझे रुला दिया लफ्ज़ देते हैं सुनाई बीते लम्हे पूछते हैं क्यों हुए ऐसे जुदा खुदा खुदा मिला जो ये फासला है खुदा तेरा ही फैसला है खुदा होना था वो हो गया जो तूने था लिखा खाली 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 रातों से होने लगी है दोस्ती खोया खोया इन राहों में अब मेरा कुछ भी नहीं हर पल हर लम्हा मैं कैसे सहता हूँ हर पल हर लम्हा मैं खुद से ये कहता रहता हूँ तुझे भुला दिया हो तुझे भुला दिया हो तुझे भुला दिया हो फिर क्यों तेरी यादों ने
तुझसे मैं खोने लगा जुदा जैसे होने लगा मुझसे कुछ मेरा तू ही मेरे लिए अब कर दुआ तू ही इस दर्द से करते जुदा तेरा हो के मेरा जो मैं ना रहा मैं खुद से कहता हूँ तुझे भुला दिया हो तुझे भुला दिया हो तुझे भुला फिर क्यों तेरी यादों ने मुझे रुला दिया हो मुझे रुला दिया
I probably shouldn't have spent 10 hours singing in practice yesterday. My voice is not what it used to be. In any case, quite a beautiful song. I chose it specifically because it had these Sufi elements in the middle, which we obviously wouldn't be able to recreate without all those instruments, but it really ties together India's cultural heredity that we have, the diversity that we have, the diversity in influences, the things that we've built. But the next song moves on further up the Silk Road to Kazakhstan. It's not a language many people would have heard outside Kazakhstan before, and not a language I'd ever considered studying either until I met my roommate, actually. He's a good friend of mine named Kazakh, and he's another person who I consider to be, like myself, very much interested in trying to find out who he is and where he comes from, and trying to dig deeper to find that, and quite a strong presence he has. And so last summer, while I was moving back to Vancouver, he was also going through a transitional period in his life, and so he started writing poetry, and I would sit in the living room playing my guitar. And as I would play some melodies, he would get words into his mind, and he would put those on paper, and he would give those to me, and then I would turn them into songs. And this is one of those songs from the summer sessions. This one is in Kazakh, which is a Turkic language. And quite interesting thing about Kazakh is you just take a root word and you add a little bit here and a little bit there, and you put it all together and you give a completely new meaning. The name of the song that I chose is Mandd Sobhann. Mung means pain or grief. Mungdas is one who shares that pain or grief with you. Mungdastar are those that do so. And Mungdastarum are mine. And so this is a song I wrote with my friend Kazakh, Mungdastarum.
Ержеткенде endi bildim mazalığın jbindi tapdım Saparım var dalımda Жалғыз қалмай жүре берем Saparım var dalımda Жалғыз қалмай жүре берем Arttan erdim undaslarım It's a song about moving forward with acceptance and reconciliation of the past, but also awareness of your own blindness. And now, I'd like to thank, first of all, my father, Alwyn Fernandes on the guitar. He just arrived back from the Moscow Jazz Festival and is now on his way elsewhere, so we are in the presence of greatness. My uncle, Alwyn Fernandes, was a bappu. Abba says most drummers hit the drums, he plays them. So, and on the piano we have Stephen Frank.
A pianist, not a keyboardist. Remember, major distinction. Why'd you stop clapping? I haven't made their lives easy. These aren't very easy songs, so they didn't. And of course, we'd like to acknowledge the incredible art being made by Wilson Souza, eminent, internationally acclaimed, whatever words you like to use. It's beautiful. And on a personal note, I would also like to thank Dr. Ravi Shankar for the moving words. I've never felt so good about myself. Dr. Ravi Shankar Rao, the head of English department at Mangalore University. The first time I got to actually speak with him since I was a child, obviously, quite recently, I said to Abba, he knows the right words. He doesn't say very this or very that. He uses the right word for the right circumstance, and I think it's quite nice to hear. Now this next song, I don't have any notes on, is in English. It's written by another Indian musician, actually. I wanted to make sure we all acknowledge that, because there's so much beautiful art that happens in this country, but it's not really appreciated. I think we're in this state of super saturation and insularization where we only listen to the music of either our own community or what's shown and that everyone else listens to, you know, be that in the modern day TikTok music or Bollywood songs and the like. But there's so many artists that lie behind the noise, and there's so much beauty to be found there. This is a song whose lyrics you will understand. It's a song on forgiveness, forgiveness of the self, forgiveness of the other. It's an understanding of what lies within you is not something that is harm, but something to learn from, I suppose. At least that's what I took from it. It's written by Suraj Mani, who sang it. Was that a who? Suraj Mani. Now, unfortunately, I haven't been able to spend as much time with him as I would like, but a few conversations that I've had with him have really driven me in this journey of making music myself as well, so I'd like to acknowledge that. And Dad played on the album. This song is called Whole.
Tin roof, a thin room, a woman and a child. I cried because mercy found no place in your pride. A part of me still there, a part that waited for you on a day long gone that moved on. I'm still too, and the family that I thought I left behind, again and again, find inside. with the song, I let it go. It sets me free. I still have you always there, all along. And everyone needs someone believing they never went that wrong. It's different inside. Free, whole, alive, caramelized, broken as mine. Eyes seeing you, family that I thought I left behind. Again and again, I find inside a baby unforgotten after all these years. 'Cause I'm a sea of forgiveness and not a river of tears.
And with that, we begin our descent into the last segment of our program, which is the songs of hope and of loss. The next song that we're about to do is in the Hebrew language. Now, Hebrew is a language that hadn't been spoken at home by anyone for over 2,000 years until the movement to return, as they say, to the promised land. Until then, it had been largely replaced by first Aramaic and then Yiddish and whatever other languages, Ladino, were spoken by the massive Jewish diaspora. But as all these people, the Mizrahim, the Sephardim, the Ashkenazim, started to arrive in Palestine and the land that we now call Israel, there was a language that they all knew that could bind them, the one that they had prayed in for thousands of years, the ones that their rabbis and leaders had written liturgy in. And that was Hebrew, the language of their ancestors, a language even Jesus would have considered to be ancient. And here we are today. It's alive, it's spoken, it has art, it has culture, it has music. It is the only language that millions of people know. The song is called Balayla, which means at night. It's a song about hope. It's a song about what keeps people going. It says in the middle of the chorus, "In the small hours, the simple prayers beg, searching and asking for a reason to go on, for a reason to hope." The song was also composed by Dan Reichel and sung by Raphael Haviv. And it goes something like...
אולי בקרוב, אולי אחרי חגים, מי יודע, מי יודע. אולי במקרה, כשכבר לא תצפה, מי יודע, מי יודע. בדלת הזו, מחוץ לחלום, עוד הכל מחכה. בוקר אחד, או בערב כמו זה, אתה בטח תראה רגע חולף או בגשם שוטף. מי יודע, מי יודע, כשכולם ישנים אף אחד לא רואה. מי יודע, מי יודע, גם אם נדמה שהיה ונגמר, עוד הכל יחכה. גם אם רע וקשה וקרוב לקצה, אתה בטח תראה. תשאל אז הלב יענה. ובלילה, בלילה, בשעות הקטנות, התפילות הפשוטות מבקשות. בלילה, בלילה, לחכות לתשובות כדי למצוא סיבה לקוות. לחכות לתשובות כדי למצוא סיבה לקוות. רגע לפני שלכתה לא תרצה, מי יודע, מי יודע, ולפני שתגיד כשכבר לא משנה, מי יודע, מי יודע, אם אתה קצת מר ושורף בחזה, אז הכל יחכה. אתה כאן, יש עוד זמן והכל ישתנה. אתה בטח תראה, אם תשאל אז הלב יענה. ובלילה, בלילה, בשעות הקטנות, התפילות הפשוטות מבקשות. בלילה, בלילה, לחכות לתשובות כדי למצוא סיבה לקוות. לחכות לתשובות כדי למצוא סיבה לקוות. ובלילה, בלילה, בשעות הקטנות, התפילות הפשוטות מבקשות. בלילה, בלילה, לחכות לתשובות כדי למצוא סיבה לקוות. לחכות לתשובות כדי למצוא סיבה לקוות.
Quite a nice chorus, huh? Catchy. And with that, we move to the very last song. Quite a bit quicker than I had anticipated. Has it been 90 minutes yet? All right. Okay, right on time. This next one is in Armenian. Armenia. It's a language spoken in the Caucasus Mountains, the southern region, by a people who were once more numerous than they are today. The Armenians are people that have a very long, very rich history, but also one that has been tattered in recent times with the invasion in Nagorno-Karabakh and the Artsakh conflict is what they call it, against Azerbaijan, as well as the Armenian genocide that took place about 100 years ago. In fact, that was when the term genocide was coined to describe the events that had occurred to the Armenians and the Assyrians and the other peoples of southeastern Anatolia. They're people who have suffered, but also have found ways to cope with it. And this song is called Yes Kulam, which means I cry. It's a song about loss, but also hope, I suppose. And it's written by a band called Dorians and sung by Gor Sujan. Beautiful voice that man has. I highly recommend you check out the original. I probably won't do it justice, but it's a beautiful song, and I hope you enjoyed the ones that had come so far and the one that is yet to come. Thank you all for coming. We'll play Yes Kulam now.
Yes, I'm Lord, du és Lord, om het kennen Lord. Zera tur, sirte tur, ach na puchur. Andrevka, patilka, keschim morana. Yes, kulam, kes hamar kulam, won't get out, I don't care,
Thank you.
Eshan Fernandes, you have not walked alone. We have followed you. You who have shared pain with us. Ladies and gentlemen, friends of music, can you believe that this evening has been possible? Can you believe that a Mangalorean boy and this Mangalorean team, this genius, celebrated on stage 12 songs from 12 languages, from 12 nations, from 12 cultures, laying the world at our doorstep, a new world, transporting all of us into a new world of hope and humanity. 4 Ps, the piano, the percussion, the paint, and the pulse, if I might say so. The pulsating guitar. Alwyn Fernandes, Melvin Fernandes, Stephen Frank, and Wilson Souza brushing his way into our hearts with those magnificent paintings out there, which will be up for auction just a little while after this. And Gloria Vegas will conduct that. It is not merely an auction, but it is a celebration of the joy that we have felt this evening, listening to this music so soulful, so melancholic, so joyous, unfolding a trajectory of loss and recuperation. A telos indeed of longing and belonging. of the longing to belong and go beyond. That has been Eshan Fernandes for us, bringing to us a wonderful new world. A wonderful new world that begins a new conversation by discovering the overlaps in the vocabulary of values. This has been Eshan's unique contribution before us this evening. And Eshan, we wish you that you will journey again, that you will journey for solace, that you will search for solace, for you must search again, because Eshan's quest is not just the quest for solace, it is also the quest for tenderness. For tenderness. That is the supreme human value that can create a new world. Ladies and gentlemen, Eshan Fernandes. Congratulations.
People to thank.
I must not forget a few names to thank, because a program like this doesn't happen just because of the musical geniuses on stage. There are a whole number of people who work for it. For the sounds, Surabhi, Damodar, Bhagwat. Thank you. For the lights, Angels, Padil, Kingsley, Nazareth. The setting, the wonderful setting, Mandd Fernandes. For the piano, where do you get a piano these days? This wonderful piano that we have, Loy Norona. For the photographs and videos, Rahul Pinto. For the catering this evening, Flan Caterers and Naveen Lobo. For advertising and publicity, Rahul Advertisers. To the press and media, we must say thanks. To the audience, we must say thanks. Thank you so much for being such wonderful people. For the office, which did so much of back-end work, Victor Matthias. And for the auction to follow, Gloria Vegas.